Good morning. We're learning as a chus for Shlema Filan Chaya Baserach and Meir Ben Cyril Pero. Our last day of Mesechtas Menachos, which I enjoyed immensely. We're on the first wide line on Daf Kuf Tes Amid Beis. The Mishnah had said that certainly if somebody, if a kohen was Ovid Avodah Zarah, he brought a carbon for Avodah Zarah, that is going to preclude him from participating in the from participating in the avodas going forward. So tomorrow, we said if someone, from the fact that Mishnah said that certainly if someone was brought a carbon for avodah zarah, he's not going to be allowed to bring a carbon in the future. And we had said that if he brought the Beis Chanyai, that Beis Chanyai, we said maybe it was Yaitza, maybe it was not. Vice does that Beis Chanyai itself is not a place that you bring avodas kechavim. So Zaktumar Tanya, this brisa that said Itzach Lem Davar Acher is command on a Beis Chanyai Lavodas Kechavmu. This is a machlokes whether the Beis Chanyai, this avodah zarah this pseudo Beis Hamikdash that was in Alexandria in Egypt was not intended to be used for avodah zarah. The Tanya. We're going to bring the machlokes about whether it was intended to be used for avodas Hashem or for avodah zarah. In either case, it was a wrong thing. You're not allowed to make another Beis Hamikdash, but the question is whether it was intended for the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Tanya. In the year that Shimon HaTzadik died, he said, Shimon HaTzadik said, this is the year I'm going to die. After Yom Kippur. They asked him, how do you know that this is your last year on earth? Every year, when I do the Avodah Yom Kippur, it appears to be a vision of a zaken who is wearing white clothing and wearing a white hat. Every year he'd come in with me and go out with me to the Kachay Kachim. This year he was wearing black. He was wearing a black hat. And he came in with me to the Kachay Kachim, and we didn't go out. So he said, that's a simon to me. First of all, the black is a sign of Misa, and the fact that he didn't go out showed him that he wasn't going to make it out of the year. And that's what happened. After Sukkot, he got 6 or 7 days and he died. This is all just to tell you that Shimon HaTzadik died. From the time of his Petira, they stopped saying by Duchening, by Birchas Kayanim, they stopped saying the same Shem HaMefarish. Before he died, Shimon HaTzadik said, I want my son Chunyoy to take over for me, to be the Kohen Gadol. Niskana by Shimi, Achiv, Shahaya Gadol Mimenu, Shtei Shanim Umechza. He had a brother who was 2.5 years older than him, named Shimi, and he was very jealous of him. You see that when it comes to brothers, when you're coming to fight for Yerusha, you don't just say, I'm 2 years old, I'm 2.5 years older, right? Whoever says that they're 2 years old, 2.5 years older. Amaloi. So the Kayanim said to Chanyai, Shimi said to Chanyai, Shimi, the older brother who was jealous that his younger brother had been appointed in his place, Amaloi Bavel Amdacha Seder Avodah, said, I'm going to come teach you how the Avodah is done in the Beis Hamikdash. He put on him a unkli, which is a type of leather garment that women wear, which is a colored belt, which is something that women wear. Two things that women wear. And he put him in front of his back with these garish women's clothing. Look at the neder this Shemi said about his brother who was dressed weirdly, dressed with women's clothing, was doing the avodah. He said, "Everyone, come look what he's doing, what he did on behalf of his wife." That he claimed that Chanyai had told his wife that on the day that he's going to do the Kahuna Gedola, Elvish Unkli Shalichi ve'echra betiltzel Shalichi. He's going. Shimi claimed that Chanyai told his wife that on the day that he starts doing the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, he's going to wear her clothing. He was trying to embarrass him in front of everyone, so he gave him bad advice. He told him to wear this clothing, and then he claimed she did it. He did it because his wife told him to. But of course, no one was really angry at him because they know if your wife tells you to do something, you got to do it. Bikshu achav akayim lahargay. But they didn't realize yet that it was a scam, so they wanted to kill him, Chanyai, for being mavaz of the avodah. Rotz mipneim, he ran away from them. V'rotzur achrov, and they chased him. Halach lachsanria shel Mitzrayim, and he came to the city of Alexandria in Mitzrayim. Ubanasham mizbeach, he built a mizbeach, v'helolav l'shum avodas kechavim, and he built for avodas kechavim. He was so bitter from losing his position that he went and he built a whole Beis Hamikdash that he could play out, bring avodah, bring kavadas to avodas kechavim. Shom l'chacham b'davar amru, when they heard about this mazeh shel yared la, kach, if Shimi had caused this whole problem because of his jealousy, and he hadn't even become Kohen Gadol yet. Once he managed to chase away his brother, and he took over. So he said, now that he became Kohen Gadol, it's not even worth it to try to get rid of him. You know, there were terrible Kohanim Kedolim, as we know, for a long period by the Chashmonaim. This is the same thing that we said that if he went to these lengths to get the Kohen Gadol, once he becomes Kohen Gadol, to try to chase him out, it's impossible. He's gonna, who knows what he'll do. Divrei Meir. So you see, according to Meir, that he used it for avodas kechavim. Amalei Yehuda loy kacha yemaisa. That's not what really happened. Eloi kibul of Chanya shehayushamai shimi achav gadol mimenu shtei shanu u'mechza. The real story is that Chanya was appointed to be Kohen Gadol, like we said before, by his father when he died, but he said, I'm not going to take it because I have an older brother. Bava became Niskana by Chanyai b'Shimi Yachav. Even so, after he was the one who handed it over to his older brother, he still got jealous of him. The younger brother got jealous. Chanyai. Amruloi, Ba'lam decha seder avoid al vishu b'onkli v'chagru v'tziltzuli. V'amidu eitzel mizbeach. Chanyai took Shimi and told him to dress in women's clothing. Amulhem la'achav ha'koyim ruman noder zeh v'kaim la'avosai. Oysa hayom she'yishtavish b'kuna gedoyla albash b'onkli v'shalechi v'echka b'tziltzul shalechi. Chanyai snitched to the koyanim and said, look, he's wearing, he made a neder, he promised his wife that he's going to wear her clothing when he does the avodah. Bikshu achayvim lahargoi. The Kohanim wanted to kill Shimi for this. Sachlem kolam ha'ira. So Shimi said, no, that's not what happened. I was following his instructions. Bikshu lahargas Chanyai. So therefore they switched their ire to Chanyai, the one who caused the problem, and they wanted to kill him. He ran away. He said the Kohanim couldn't kill him. And they chased after him. He ran to the king's palace, and they ran after him there. Everyone would say, this is the one because of the terrible bizayon that he did. He came to Alexandria in Mitzrayim. He built a Beis Hamikdash in Alexandria, and he used it not like Rameir had said for Avodah Zarah, but rather used it for bringing karbanos to the Basham. Shnema b'yemo yeh mizbeach l'Hashem b'seich eretz Mitzrayim matzeiva etzod gvula l'Hashem. The pasuk says that it will be a day that there's going to be a mizbeach for Hashem in Mitzrayim, and there'll be a matzeiva, a monument near its border. So you see that there was l'Hashem. If this person who went to this Chanya went to these lengths to try to resecure the Kahuna Gedola after he had already declined it at first, but then he regretted it and he went to such extents to try to get it back, certainly somebody who never rejected it in the first place is going to go to great extents to get to not to lose the covet of being the Kayin God. We're at the 2 dots, 5 lines from the bottom of Kuf Tes Amid Beis. Tanya, Amar Yeshua ben Parachya. B'tchila kol ha'omer. We're going to bring. So we just talked about how a person is Bareach Achar Kavod. Once someone gets covered, it's very hard to give it up. The very true thing. It's easy. A lot of people will say, I don't need covered. I can't understand how someone would go so far. You see people, they twist their lives and they do lie, cheat, and steal to get covered. But it's very easy if you don't have covered to say it's not so important to me. But people, once they have covered, it's a very hard thing to give up. If you're respected, to say, okay, I'm going to become a regular person. Tanya, Amar Yeshua ben Parachya. B'tchila kol ha'omer Allah, law, ani kaifasa v'nois b'fnei hari. There's always room for one more.
Yeah, it's hard to separately with this.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to send the message that we're learning on Zoom today.
It's tense to flip. I don't know how to get out. Oh, maybe just how to get out of it. There we go.
Okay.
Figured it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Two dots. Wait, just started.
So Rabbi Yeshua ben Parachya said, at the beginning I said, anyone who's going to try to appoint me to a position of honor, I'm going to take the guy and I'm going to tie him up and put him in front of a lion. I'm not interested in covet. Ata, but now that I actually reached a position of covet, you guys are good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But now, once I'm already a gadol to be taken out of my position, I'm going to throw a bottle of hot water into his face if he tries to take me away. When Shaul was first asked to be king, he tried to get out of it. And once he became king, he wanted to kill David in order to remain the king. Amalei Mark Shisha Breder of Chizla Abayah, a mayor, high crowd of Yehuda, my Avidlay. What is your mayor who says that Chonyai built the Beis Hamikdash, his fake Beis Hamikdash in Alexandria, for Avodah Zarah? What does he do with that pasuk that Rabbi Yehuda brought that said that he was using it for bring karbanos to Rabban Shalom? So come on, look at the Tanya. After the downfall of Sancheiriv, Chizkiah came out of Yerushalayim and he found these thousands and thousands of princes that were sitting in their golden wagons. He made them make a neder not to do avodas kechavim. There will be 5 cities in Mitzrayim that will be populated by these princes that had been forced to swear not to be Oved Avodah Zarah. They're going to be speaking in Lashon Kodesh. And they're going to be speaking, they make shvus in the Shem Hashem. So they went to Mitzrayim. They built the Mizbeach, the Hellel of L'Shem Shemayim, and they brought Kabbalas L'Shem Shemayim. Shenema b'Yemuiyah Mizbeach L'Shem b'Seich Eretz Yisrael, Ir HaHoros, Yom Elechas. And that day there's going to be a Mizbeach Hashem in Eretz Yisrael, and the name of one of the cities will be Horos. So this is what the pasuk is not talking about Chonyai, but rather it's talking about these refugees, these princes of Sancheiriv's army who had promised not to be Oved Avodah Zarah, so they built a Mizbeach to Hashem. What does this mean at the end of the pasuk? My Ir HaHoros, that it's going to be called the city of Horos. Yom Alachas. Kamatar Rabbi Yosef. Karta de Beis Shemesh to Asad Lemicharev. The city that the city of Beis Shemesh, which that's I guess this is where the city of Beis Shemesh in near Yerushalayim is named after. That's one of the five cities. It's going to be destroyed.
They weren't allowed to do that, right? They weren't allowed to build a Mizbeach outside of Yerushalayim.
These are Goyim. I guess I don't know if they're doing anything wrong. But the Chanyai was for sure doing something wrong. Yeah, you're chayav kares for bringing carbon outside of Yerushalayim. So I guess you could build a base of English, but you can't use it. But these are Goyim. I don't know if there's a problem with a guy bringing the carbon to the Rebbeinu Shalom. They could do. I don't think there's any restrictions on them. So in any case, it was said that this Ir Cheres that's going to be destroyed, that's going to be so it's called Beis Shemesh. That is a lashon of Heres. Heres is a lashon of Shemesh. So my dear Heres lishna de Shimshehi. How do we know that Heres is a lashon of the Shemesh? Tachsev ha'imel lecheres ches and hey can be changed to ha'imel lecheres below Yisrach. He says to the sun and it doesn't rise, doesn't shine. Bring my sons from far away and my daughters from the ends of the earth. What is the end of this pasuk? What does it mean? Bring my sons from far away. That's a reference to the Galus Bavel. That when people are in Bavel, there's a lot of yeshivas, and they were not oppressed, so they were able to flourish. So they were miyushav like a son, like a man. And my daughters at the end of the earth, that's the Goliath in the other lands, not in Bavel, that it's more like Noshim Daitim Kalas, that because of the oppression, they're not able to focus. We're not going to start when we make the Siyum Beshem on Sunday. If there are women there, we're not going to start from this drush. I don't think it will be appreciated. Amr Rab Abba bar Rav Yitzchak Amr Rav Chizda va'Amri lo Amr Rav Yehuda Amr Rav Mitzur Kartigni, from Tzur, which is Tyre. I always thought Tyre was like something in Rome, and Cartigny is I think Carthage, which is in Greece. But yeah, I'm totally wrong. Makir mes Yisrael v'asavim shebashamayim. This central part of the Galus, the Goyim recognize the primacy of Yidden, and they recognize the Rebbeinu Shalom. From the west of Tzur and from the east of Kartigni, they're pagans and they don't recognize the Rebbeinu Shalom. They worship pagan gods. From the east, when the sun rises until it sets, Gadol, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, my name is great by the Goyim. And in every place, Mukta, they're maktir, they bring karbanos, mugash, and they do hagash, they come to the Mizbech, Lishmi, in my name. Mincha Tahira, and they bring mugash Lishmi, Mincha Tahira, they bring a Mincha Tahira, pure Mincha. So he asked the question. You see over here that they do say B'Shem Hashem everywhere they go. So why are you saying that there's all these areas that they don't bring for the L'Shem Hashem? That from the west and the east of Carthage, of Cartigna and Satsir, they don't know about the Rebbeinu Shalom. In this passage we say everywhere. Amalei Shimi Atakarle Alika Atakarle you are the one that they call Amalei Shimiat. Are you really called the Shimi? Are you the famous Shimi? The Karle Ka They do call Elakad Elakah. They call the Ribbono Shel Olam the God of gods, meaning they all recognize that there is a Ribbono Shel Olam, and they know that He is in charge of everything. But they still have their other Avodah Zaros in these other places that they bring to. It's only in the central part between Kartigni and Sur that they only recognize the Ribbono Shel Olam, which is monotheism, right? That in, I guess maybe it's referring to after Christianity, or maybe before that, the religions that were not Oved Hashem, the non-Jewish religions, at least recognize that there is one God. But in the other places, they also recognize that the Ribbono Shel Olam is the supreme being. But they nevertheless they still were Oved other levels of other gods who were lesser than him, or they thought they were competition. The pasuk continues, "B'chol makom mukter mugish l'shmi, b'chol makom salkadaitach." Can you say in every place? This is talking about Talmidei Chachamim. It's not to be taken literally. It's talking about Talmidei Chachamim that they learn in every place. I treat it as if they, when they learn the Hilchos Kodshim, or when they learn B'chlal, it's as if they were brought karbanos and they brought them to the Mizbeach in my name. O mincha tahira, the pasuk continues, and a mincha tahira, a pure mincha, ze'alem b'tayra b'tayra. That's someone who learns Torah with impurity. Noise isha v'achach lam b'tayra. It's someone who learns in Kailul, that after he gets married, he's able to learn with Yishuv Hadas. The pasuk says, Shir Amalos. David HaMelech says, Shir Amalos Hine Baruch Hashem Kol Avdei Hashem. They bless Hashem, all the servants of Hashem, the Oimim Beis Hashem Baleilos, who stand in the house of Hashem at nights. My Baleilos, what does it mean, standing in the house of Hashem at nights? Or Yechon, El Tamidei Chama Oiskim B'Torah Balayla. These are Tamidei Chama who learn at night. Mal Alei and Akasu Kilu Asukim Ba'avodah La'olam. When they learn Torah at night, I treat them as if they were Isaac and Avodah. They're doing the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. La'olam Zois al Yisrael. The pasuk continues, or it's a different pasuk. Hineni bayna bayis l'shem Hashem alekei l'hakdish le'l'hakdil l'fanav k'tar samim rechus tamid v'aylos l'bayka l'av l'arav l'shabasa l'chadashim l'vayde Hashem alekei l'olam zois al Yisrael. This will be forever on the Yidden. So it's talking about the Beis Hamikdash, and it's saying that it's always going to be by the Yidden. So it's a question. It's not true. We know that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. How can we say l'olam zois al Yisrael? This is not a reference to our Beis Hamikdash, but to the Beis Hamikdash in Shemayim, that Michael, the Sar Gadol, is standing and being Makav Karbanos Lo'el. This is the Talmidei Chacham that learn the halachas of avodah. We treat it as if they built the Beis Hamikdash in their days. So this is the reason why we want to do it. The Gemara is going through different psukim that show, really, in general, the mila of learning Torah, that it's treated as if you did what you get, as if you built the Beis Hamikdash, and like we said, it's as if they're being Isaac in the Avodah. Now that we finished Zvach and Menachos, which are the twin Mesechtas about Kodshim, about the bringing of Karbanos, the Gemara is telling us that doing the learning about the Avodah as if you did the Avodah. There's actually a Rashi at the end of Metzia that says that it's talking about how there's a Talmud Chacham, one of the Amoraim, was asked a question, and he said, "I don't even know the 4 Sdarim that are relevant. You're asking me a question on Tyrus. How can I know Tyrus?" So he says, the Rashi asks, what are the four Siddharim that are relevant? Those are Mayed, Noshim, Nezikin, and Kodshim. But Kodshim is not relevant. So he says, Rashi answers that Kodshim is relevant because when we learn about Hilchos Kachim, we get the schar as if we did actually brought the karbanos. So Kachim is considered to be relevant bisman hazeh in that sense. We'll see later on that someone who learns Kachim, he gets the schar as if he got a kapar. Amr Shurish Laksh. Ma'atach said Zoysa Torah la'oila mincha lechatos la'asham. Kol ha'oisik b'Torah kilu hikrav oila mincha chatos v'yasham. Whoever learns these halachos, it's as if he brought these karbanos. Amar Rava, Hai la'oila lemincha oila u'mincha mi'baile. Why does it say le'oila? Why does it say? It should just say oila u'mincha without a laman. Amar Rava kol ha'oisik b'Torah netzarach lo'oila v'lei mincha v'lei asham. He doesn't need these karbanos. He gets mamish the kapara. It's not that we just treat it as if he brought them, but he mamish gets the kapara. He gets ma'adev sev zoyis Torah zachatas zoy Torah asham kol ha'oisik b'Torah chatas kilu hikrev chatas kol ha'oisik b'Torah asham kilu hikrev asham. He gets the schar as if he brought these karbanos. Zok the mission. Remember, Oile behema isha reich michayach. Oile saif isha reich michayach. Minchas isha reich michayach. Why does it say on all of them, all these different karbanos, isha reich michayach? Leimilcha. Echad amar b'vachi yichavim libel shamayim. The famous phrase that it doesn't make a difference whether you bring a big bowl or you just bring a mincha. If you mechavim libel shamayim, you get the same schar. Amar zera micro. Where do you see this in the pasuk? Meshuka shanas ha'oven imat ve'im harba. The sleep of someone who does the avodah is sweet, whether he does a lot or whether he does a little. Yoichel, the Rebbe Shalom is going to consume it. Rad ba'ava mehacha. Barabba satoiva rabbi yoichlin u'ma kishron le'bailov. When there's a lot of when there's a great when he's marbe and what he gives. The rabbi, the Rebbeinu Shalom, will consume it, and what's going to be the benefit to the Bailam? The Reshel doesn't really need it; he's not eating it. Tanya Rosh Hashanah, boy rei ma siv beparshas karbanos shaloi nema bahen loy kael v'loy elikim el Hashem. There's only one word to describe the Hashem in the parsha of karbanos. We only use the Shem Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei. We don't use the other Shemis. So in Pesach Pella Baldin Lachlik V'Nemar B'Shar Hagas Isha Reich V'Nemar V'Neimar. I'm sorry. So in Pesach Pella Baldin Lachlik. In order not to give opportunity for someone to say that there's different karbanos go to different entities. V'Nemar B'Shar Hagas Isha Reich Nichayach V'Vadak Isha Reich Nichayach. They use the same lashon Isha Reich Nichayach, whether by a fat cow or a thin oif. Over mincha yishureich nichayach. Same thing. By mincha lemlecha echad amar b'vat shechavim slibel shamayim, like we said in our Mishnah. V'shem atoyma lachilu tzarch. If you'll say the Rebbeinu Shalom needs a carbon to eat, tamalayim im erev loy oymelach ki li sevel loy. If I'm going to be hungry, I'm not going to tell you. Would I not tell you? The whole world is mine. By all the chayas in the forest and the behemoths and the thousands of mountains, yadati kalef harim v'ziz sari imadi. And there, I know all of every bird, and I know everything that everything that moves on the fields. Am I going to eat the basar of a cow or the basar of a goat? Did I not tell you to do your zvachim? In order that you I'm sorry. I didn't tell you that you say that Eser Etzayni v'Yaser Etzayni. Don't think that you're going to do what I said and therefore I'm going to do what you say. You're not bringing karbanos for me to give me pleasure. You're doing in order that you should be Mekayim mitzvahs. Because doing mitzvahs is good for you. The pasuk says you should bring a carbon for your needs. You should bring a carbon you should bring a carbon l'tzonchem for your needs and l'datchem. It has to be for your. You have to have in mind the proper thing. How do we know that someone who's oisik in kachim is possible? You have to have in mind that it's supposed to be a carbon. And we know about this pasuk, but how do we know that having in mind, having das on a carbon is that's what we learn from this pasuk, that it has to be ledas. Mesechtas Menachos. Mazel tov. Besem al Siyum on Shabbos. I hope for the beginning of